This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. You have the code of a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to obey if you know it's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Truckermouth, the podcast that gives you real insight into the trucking industry while providing a platform for your voice to be heard. Whether you're behind the wheel, managing logistics, or just passionate about the industry, this is the place to build confidence, share experiences, and stay informed. Join us as we tackle the challenges, celebrate the wins, and drive forward together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome down here in the underground. I'm Truckermouth, and this is the Road Show. Down here giving veterans a voice. Today, on the Road Show, we discuss issues in the American trucking industry, how it affects America and the American trucking industry as a whole. Okay. Before we get started, I want to point out the point. I've been opening up my show with this last couple times. So in 2023, the Veteran Improvement Commercial Driver's Licensing Act was implemented. That means that veterans exiting the military with their GI benefits can use them to go to regulatory approved truck driving schools to get their Class A license and drive the big truck, the large car. Do the American. It was my dream to be a complete owner operator, cowboy around, and but looking into it anymore with everything they want you to pay and things keep going up, I don't know if that'd be a good idea to do that. You'd really have to be pretty savvy on your money. So truckers pay enough into the tax system as Congress works for long-term solutions to make the Highway Trust Fund sustainable. Now, the Highway Trust Fund is that's the fund that builds roads, fixes roads, puts guardrails up, fixes potholes, everything. It all comes out of the Highway Trust Fund. And a lot of things contribute to that, but they're trying to jack that up so that more safer roads out there and more passable roads with more as the population keeps increasing. All right, so here I'm going to point out because they keep coming out with new fees, this and that on the truck. I'm just going to point out some of the things that the transportation industry has to already pay for, and so we're going to look at, along with the cost of operating a trucking company, and maintenance on the vehicle. So, it's just like on your car, everything you got to do with your car, they got to do with these trucks, but on a large scale and a very more expensive take on it. So, first of all, you got your tires. Just like your car, you got tires. And they're wearable parts. And, a car tire anymore, I mean, just say an SUV can go like, what, $250 a tire? Whereas a truck tire is $800, $1,000 and up, depending on what you're getting, I guess. And you got a whole lot of tires on an 18-wheeler, to pay for. And especially when it comes to inspection, that's one of the big things they're hard on when these trucks is inspections. And they're always hard on tires, so you're always buying tires. And plus they're blowing out, and you're getting flats with obstacles in the road. Your inspection, everything goes with that. And as you're putting a lot of miles on your tractor, you got things up front on the front end there that are getting really, really wore. Like your stabilization bar, you got your tie rod ends, all that stuff's wearable parts. And you that's everything to do with inspection every year. And then not just that, not just the cost of it, you gotta make it safe. You gotta be safe out there, man. Something happens out there with one of them, and then you're not only your life in your hands, but other people's. You got your fuel and your death. So fuel, these tanks, they got 300 gallon tanks. 2 of them usually on a large car, a good one. So you're going to fill up, just say you do a fill up at 500, just say 500 gallons. At what? $4.69 a gallon? Do the math on that one. Christ, it's the $2,000 just to fill your truck up. Of course, you got your food out there, which is a big cost. You got to eat, and you're not going to always be, hitting off that buffet or truck stop, man. You're going to be treating yourself to steak as I did. I went one place. I was delivering on that Home Depot account. Anything that was ever around there was an Applebee's. Other than fast food. I got tired of eating fast food, so I went up to the steak place up on the hill. And I tried to keep it cheap. And I sat up there, I was done for day. I drank a couple beers, and I ate a small steak. It was a cheap steak. About 10 beers later, I got the big steak. How you like me now? And that meal. I mean, I spent like $60 up there that day. Well, that was my own fault, but I don't know, like steak. I picked it out and everything. Truckermouth. You got your tolls. Tolls every goddamn where. New York. I mean, all your big cities got tolls. Bridges, tunnels, all that. All them tolls keep going up. Got that. Now, I guess as an owner-operator, you can claim all that at the end of the year. Nevertheless, you got to fork it out now. Well, you got your Easy Pass fund. I don't know. I didn't have to deal with it. I never got to my dream. I never got to do it. Now I never will now because I don't have a CDL. I'll never, Truckermouth never get a CDL again. Truckermouth got a lifetime suspension on his CDL because he's a terrible person. So, and you got anything to do with your engine keep up, just like your car. You got oil changes, this and that. Everything to do with your car. You have to do with a truck, but on a larger scale and a more expensive scale. That's for sure. Now, some of these dudes, they got their own garage at home where they pull in and they do all their own maintenance. Now, that's your real savvy trucker. I mean, like I said, I never got to that point, and I never will. But looking into all what they pay out, I mean, these people, I'm gonna bring this up later on, give up everything for this job to do. They give up everything. Give everything to be on the road to make that money. You're away from your family. If you have children, all that. You're away from that, and you're out there, and it's tough, man. It's tough out there, and they shouldn't be treated like, like they're. I wasn't treated very well because you got a million trucks going into these places, and they don't like truck drivers because trucks come in and they got to work. So they're trying to make the trucking industry pay more. That's why I'm doing this segment here on the high cost of run on E. That's why I'm doing this segment. Just to point out already what they got to pay out. The transportation industry has to pay out. Okay, now we got all your tags and all that. And I researched this. First off, you got your IPG tag, which is supposed to be an international registration plan, every truck and every tag every year. So on top of your inspections and all that, you got to get these tags, these stickers. Now, you don't see a lot of the trucks anymore with all them stickers on the side. I don't know what this IPG tags, which is supposed to be international registration plan. I'm not real sure what that is, but they got to pay for it. It says IPG tags. I did the research on this. IPG tags. There it is. They have to pay for it. And you got your federal excise tax on all new purchases based on the purchase price. With new tractors pushing over $200,000 and trailers are the same way. They're way up there now. So this federal excise tax, you got to pay on everything new. And I'm sure that your average consumer out there has to do it too. I imagine they can't just put that on the truckers. I imagine we're all paying that on new things. But, you know, if they pay the federal excise tax on every new tire, there's 18 tires on an 18-wheeler and always wearing out and blowing out like we discussed earlier. So there you got that. Which, like I said, I think your average consumer pays that also. Okay? Got your fuel tax. Based on fuel mileage. Every state across the country, no matter where you fuel in that state, you got to pay the same fuel tax. So if it's you're 100 miles from somewhere and it's 10 cents cheaper, or it's the cheapest place around, you're still paying the highest fuel tax. Because no matter where in the state you fuel, that's why these truckers try to get through states and have high fuel prices, because they're trying to save money, get through them, and then they do their best. These guys know, and I said on our segment, these guys know where to fuel, what states to fuel, and which one to stay away from. You got your federal highway use tax, which keeps going up over years. Okay? It used to be based on how many trucks you have. Now you pay up front on how many trucks you have. So say you just have just one truck. You got to pay that up front in one lump sum. And if you sell that truck or wreck that truck, there's no refund on that. You don't get any of that money back. You still paid that. You still paid that federal highway use tax. It's like I said, that was always my dream, to go to the cowboy trucker where I can go what I want and do what I want. You know what? That's why you don't see it much anymore. You don't really see it much anymore. Now, there's still thousands of them out there. Don't get me wrong, but not like back in the 70s. And so there you go. Is the government's using tax dollar funds to create bike pass and e-vehicle charging stations and such, rather than investing traditional infrastructure. Came under protest from the trucking industry. Hell yeah, it came under protest from the trucking industry. They want, that should be used to fix the roads and bridges and all that. Now, I have a bike, and I use bike pass and such, but that should come from the state, not the government. States do that, man. And put that money in the highway trust fund and use that for the infrastructure of the roads. And by the way, electric vehicles, despite having heavier batteries, do not contribute to the highway trust fund. They're heavier. Yeah, and I'm going to go for a little bit longer than a minute or so. So these American electric vehicles, I said they're heavier, do not contribute to the highway trust fund. Electric vehicles don't use fuel, therefore they're not paying into the highway trust fund, because they're not paying the fuel tax, which goes to the highway trust fund. Congressional Budget Office estimates gas tax revenues. The majority of trust fund recipients will decline over years, estimating at 40%. So as these cars get more electric vehicles out there and your hybrids and all that get better on fuel, you're going to lose 40% of the fuel tax that goes into the Highway Trust Fund. The House Transportation Infrastructure Committee on Wednesday, April 30th, approved a budget reconciliation program proposal that includes a $250 fee for trucks, an annual fee for EV users. Oh, it's $250. I can't even read my writing sometimes. I got to get a computer to print these things out because I can do a book report all the time for my podcast. I don't have a teleprompter or people holding cards up. I got to write everything fucking down and do it. So there we go. So yeah, so it's $250 annual fee for EV users, EV cars, $100 on hybrids, and $20 on regular passenger cars. According to the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, the new fees will increase Highway Trust Fund by $38 billion over 10 years. I mean, they got to do something. They got to keep the roads safe. They got to keep the roads going, and because there's more and more cars on the road all the time, and trucks and everything else. All right, so when we come back, it's road rage on proposed congestion pricing tolling. When we come back, we're going to commercial.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome, Quack.
Opinions expressed in this
Roadrage!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back on the road. It's time for Road Rage. Road Rage is a segment I do on current events around the world and here in America and how it affects America as a whole. Today we're going to road rage on congestion pricing tolls. Proposed congestion pricing tolls. And New York's the first one to do it. New York City. Okay, so New York City is the first one to do this. And you know if it gets approved up there, every large city is going to follow suit. All right, so I mean, you know, they just say on top, and I just did my first segment on just a bunch of things that the transportation industry already has to pay. Yeah. And now they want to do this for people trying to do their job. And Truckermouth don't like it, and he's putting the hammer down on it. Congestion pricing tolling is a traffic management strategy where drivers are charged a fee to use certain roads or enter specific areas during periods of high traffic congestion. The goal is to reduce traffic volume, improve road efficiency, and encourage the use of public transportation on off-peak travel. Now, putting a price on everything just don't work. I mean, you got to figure something out. These people are going into New York. You got your food delivery, Cisco and all them going in there every single. They got a route up there, and they got to get. They have to get the deliveries to them so they can sell them, and the economy. That's how the economy goes. You deliver the goods. People buy the goods. They buy more goods. The trucks come, deliver them. The consumer buys them, and that's how the world works. And trucks keep everything streamlined. If you have everything you need, everybody's happy. You got the parts you need. You got the food you need. I mean, it's just how the world goes, and they want to put a price on it. It's just so here, it's like, along with the tolls for the bridges, the tunnels, all that. Now they want to put a price on going into Manhattan. So they got proposed here, and I looked this up. January 5th, 2020, charging vehicles entering Manhattan's congestion relief zone. Local streets and avenues below 60th Street, based on the vehicle type, time of day, and payment method. Below 60th Avenue in Manhattan is where it's really congested at. Easy Pass users, peak hours, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Weekends from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. $9. Peak hours. Overnight, $2.25. Well, look, a lot of these places are only open during the day or only received during the day. What are they supposed to do? Tell them to change their hours then. You can't put everything on the transportation industry. It ain't like that. That's what we want for trucks. So trucks and commercial vehicles, peak hours with Easy Pass is $14.40. On top of your tolls for your bridges, your tunnels, all that, now you got to pay $14.40 to go into these areas. Overnight, it's only $3.60. I'm still bitching. Because you shouldn't have to pay a damn thing because you're doing them a favor. You're bringing products to them. And it ain't easy to get into Manhattan. I'm pretty sure 53 102s aren't allowed. They're not allowed in Manhattan. I don't believe. But to large trucks now, peak hours, they want you to pay $21.60. That was small trucks, the last one. $21.60 go in there in peak hours. Well, that's when they deliver. That's when they want their products. And you can't put everything on the transportation industry. You got to go to the whole world. And look, we got to change this. I understand they want to try to cut down on emissions, cut down on the congestion downtown, but charge a fee. What happens when you charge these fees is everything builds up. Shit rolls downhill. So you charge the trucker $21.60. And they got, just say the trucks in there all the time, every day. So damn well they're going to raise the prices on the products that they're delivering, and then they're going to raise the prices on their food or whatever they're making to the consumer, and then he's going to pay more. So you can't always put a price on something, and that's going to make it better. Taxis too, they want to charge 75 cents for taxis and green cabs, black cars. I don't know what a green cab and black car, but I know yellow taxi. And then the Lyft drivers and Uber, $1.50 to go in there. I believe they said it's only once a day. So once you charge the fee, you can go in there, I think, as many times as you want. Passenger vehicles will rise. 2028 passenger vehicle tolls will rise to $12. 2031 passenger vehicle peak tolls will reach $15. Just imagine what big truck is already 21 something now. Fuck out of here. Low income residents. After the first 10 trips in a calendar month, 50% discount on daytime tolls is available. So what happens? There ain't no low income on the downtown Manhattan. You ain't living down there in Manhattan. Low income, not that I know of. low-income residents. Yeah, what about the residents that live down there? They got to go in there during peak hours or just getting done work or something. Have the first 10 trips in the car a month for the discount. Low-income residents. Residents within the zone may qualify for a state tax credit if their adjusted gross income is under $60,000. 60 grand up there is like, see, I live here in PA, which is right under New York. 60 grand up there, that's like minimum wage. Live in Manhattan, you better make 4 times that to live in Manhattan. Exemptions, emergency vehicles, of course, commuter buses, vehicle transit disabled personnel. Yeah. Drivers entering the tolls via toll tunnels, the Holland Tunnel, Lincoln, Hugh L. Carey, Queens Midtown Bridge during peak hours with Easy Pass receive a crossing credit against the congestion toll. No credits provided for bridge crossings. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, right. They're trying to make it, well, okay. No, we don't want it at all. There's already opposition against it. There's already people suing the state and all that. You don't do that. There's several types of congestion pricing tolling. A corridor pricing, a fee to enter, a cordon pricing, a fee to enter a defined area, like the Central Business District. Yeah, okay. Like I said, you're doing these people a favor by bringing their products in on a timely basis and keeping them stocked up on whatever they need. They always want to come back on the transportation industry. We got variable tolling. Tolls change based on time of day. Fuck out of here. Uber and Lyft do that. The same ride you got from Uber, I'll stop using Lyft. They're crooked. The same ride you get today for $8, say from here across the bridge here at Ratesville. When they're busy, it's $12, $13, $15. Bullshit on that. Zone-based pricing. Fees applied within certain zones regardless of entry point. Yeah. They're just trying to sugarcoat everything. Truckermouth don't like it. He's putting the hammer down on it. We're not going to pay. We're crashing the gate doing 98. We said, let them truckers roll 10-4 go. We got a great big convoy. Can't always charge. Come back on the trucking industry for everything. What's that going to solve? They're not going to stay out. They still got to be in there with that time to deliver. They got delivery time. Like I said, you got to go to all these companies, this and that, and say, hey, what can we do here? That's Truckermouth's take on it. I don't know. So should be ringing off the hook, man. What? Nobody got nothing to say. Truckermouth's worldwide. Distance-based pricing. Charges depending on how far a vehicle travels within a zone. Fuck out of here. So they're trying to sugarcoat everything. We're not going to pay it. And I'm laying it down in the underground on congestion pricing tolling. And we ain't having it. So I don't know, man. Can't put a price on everything, and there's a mismanaged infrastructure is what it is. And just, tolling this and tolling that, making everything harder to stuff get there is not the answer. The Truckermouth breaking it down, and he don't like it. My brothers and sisters out there driving trucks are putting everything they have. They give everything up they have to drive these trucks. Even your local guys, they're working mad hours running them, so the stress on them, everything else, and it's not right. One more thing that they have to pay out and worry about. Federal lawmakers in New Jersey and New York introduced 3 bills that go directly after New York City's congestion pricing program and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. So there's people going after them. They're trying to shut this down even before it gets started. And they really should. Other efforts to stop congestion pricing. At least 9 lawsuits filed in federal district court are challenging congestion pricing. Yeah, because it ain't the answer. It's not the answer. And Truckermouth's breaking it down. I'm not going to have it. We're not having it. We're not paying. We're crashing the gate doing 98 and letting them truckers roll tempo. Well, looks like We got to our destination. This is the end of the road. I'm Truckermouth. Thanks for coming along for the ride on the road with Truckermouth. Woo-hoo! Hit end stream. Truckermouth still on? End stream. I'm off, right? I hit end stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.